Hi, this is UVA173, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my view on cubing and its place in our lives. Like, some people are obsessed with cubing and spend all their free time doing it, and others are a bit more laid back. So I'm gonna talk about stuff like that. And I'm also going to intersperse it with talking about how I did in the competition in the video, which was CSP fall this Saturday. So what you're seeing right now is a 15.38 first round average, which was a big failure since you probably know I average a lot faster than that, but at least I made the second round. I was a bit worried. So yeah, that wasn't very good. Okay, so starting to talk about the topic, I chose the topic for the video because I've had some discussions with a friend named Andy, and we were talking about this and we had different views on it, so I decided it'd be a cool thing to make a commentary about. Yeah, so the first question would be, the first topic that I was going to talk about would be, like, which was more important to you, and it would be cubing or high school sports. And we were talking about this because Andy used to do cross country, but he stopped to focus on cubing. And okay, so I'm gonna pause for a second. What you're seeing now is a 4x4 solve 103 with OLL parity, so it could have been sub 1 without that. I ended up getting a 103 average and a 59 single, which is a bit slower than what I averaged, so hopefully I'll get a sub 1 average at my next competition. Thanks for Lucas Eddard of filming. I really appreciate it. And so Andy, he stopped doing cross country because of cubing to focus on it. I mean, like, that's okay. He's actually the judge right now. But yeah, that's fine, but I guess that's just his opinion, but I'm just going to say on why I think that I would never stop doing cross country, because I run all 3 seasons, and I'm just going to say why I would never stop doing cross country because of cubing. So in pretty much all sports, like even cross country, you really feel like you're more of a part of a team than if you're if you're in a cube club, you can be really close to the members. But I still think you're never really competing in a team when you're cubing. You're still, with team sports, even XC, it's a bit of a team sport, because in races, the way the point system works is that the top 5 runners all count for points, and then the team with the least points wins. So it's kind of a team sport. So that's one reason that I really like running. It feels good to be part of a team, and I value it more than cubing. And then also on the video, what you're watching now is my last 3 cells of 5x5. This was a 140, what you're watching right now. It was part of a 149 average. The single and average were both overall PBs by a lot, so this was a really good round for me. And so running also requires a lot much more dedication. So cubing, you can just practice whenever you feel like it. If you play a high school sport, then you have to show up to practice every day, and I really think that it shows a lot. You feel a lot better about yourself if you go and run really well than if you do well at a cubing competition, because you trained really hard for this. You practice for 2 hours every day. So I think that just shows that it just requires more dedication. It gives you a better feeling when you succeed. And so also in cubing, you practice by yourself. You're sitting at your computer with the stack mat, and you're just practicing by yourself. It's kind of lonely. Sometimes you put music on, but I mean, when you practice with a team, for example, cross country, I mean, I've heard people say that when the sports that they do in high school, they the friends that they made, they're lifelong friends. You become really close to the team, part of a team, and that's the reason that so there's a reason that colleges weight sports more, and it's because people who do sports tend to be more successful in life because it requires lots of dedication. And I just think that sports are very important to me. Of course, I'm not like I'm not saying that Andy's choice is wrong. I'm just saying what my opinion is. And then the next thing that I was going to discuss is that whether or not you should be an all-rounder in cubing. So in case you don't know, an all-rounder in cubing means that you try to get better at all the events instead of just focusing on one or two. And so I used to do only 3x3, and maybe a little bit of one-handed, a tiny bit of 4x4, maybe a tiny bit of 2x2 or whatever. But pretty much only 3x3. And I got down to about 12 seconds, and then I stopped improving. And so recently I've been getting a lot more well-rounded, gotten a lot faster at pretty much every other event. And, cubing has just gotten a lot more fun for me. It's a lot more interesting than it used to be. So if I get bored of one event now, I can just go and practice another. And it's a lot more fun because you can race friends, on any puzzle. You don't just, you're not just good at one. If you're good at all of them, then you can race a friend with all the puzzles, with no matter what puzzle. So like if a friend specializes in pyraminx, then you can race them in pyraminx, and you don't have to say, oh, I only do 3x3. So that's one reason why it's been fun for me. And then also another good thing is that during competition, people like Phil Yu only does OH, and he wants to. He doesn't have the time to spend all rounding, and he really wants to be good at one event, and he's really good at one-handed. But the problem with that is the only thing he does at the whole competition, the only thing he competes in besides normal 3x3, which he doesn't really care about, is one-handed. So he goes through competition, and he only has one or 2 rounds maybe at most competitions to really get a good average. And that's the only event that he cares about, and that puts a lot of pressure on him. And I know he doesn't do that well in competition because he doesn't really thrive that well under pressure, and most people don't do that well when they only really care about one event. People usually do better in the events that they don't care about. So you do a lot better in competition generally if you're more well-rounded, or actually pretty much always. So that's one main thing that I wanted to talk about, because if you're doing badly in 3x3 in a competition, you can just say, oh, it's okay, I'll try to do better in 4x4 later, or something like that. So it doesn't matter as much to you, and therefore you do better. And then so last thing I was going to talk about, one more thing actually about all rounding, is that there is less chance of quitting if you're all rounding, because you won't get really frustrated if you stop improving on, for example, the puzzle that you specialize in. So if you specialize in 3x3 and you stop improving, then you might quit because you're like, oh, it's impossible for me to improve. But if you're all-rounding, then if you stop improving on, say, 7x7, then you can go, oh, let me do some clock solves and see if I improve on that, or something like that. So the last thing was cubing and colleges. So I haven't started applying to colleges yet, but I will say this, cubing is a really good thing to have on your resume. It can be a good thing, but only if you present it the right way. So if you have shown that you were dedicated and you had years of practice, and you show a good work ethic and dedication to improve, then it's good. But otherwise, you really just have to frame it the right way, and I don't think it would be very good to make it like a huge part of your application, because it's not really academic at all. So for example, like if you're going to say, oh, I did quiz bowl, well, that's academic and you showed way to improve, but cubing, it's not, you didn't, it's just not academic, it's just a hobby. So then for 3x3 round 2, which what you're seeing right now, I ended up with a 12.31 average, and it included, I believe it's this solve, a 10.25 full step, and so yeah, that was a decent average. It was my best of the day. Still not that good, but pretty good. And it wasn't actually that solid, but you probably saw it. And so yeah, it was a pretty good average. So anyways, with cubing in colleges, yeah, I mean, like it's just not academic like some other things. So I mean, like I had a friend say that because of it not being academic, you really shouldn't put it on your resume at all. And although I wouldn't say that, I would agree that maybe it's not the best idea to make it the center of your application. And what you're seeing now is a 3x3 final. So, oh, okay, never mind. Here's that was the 10.25 full step. So now it's starting to do one-handed. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I had to talk about. I ended up with a 22.52 one-handed average with a 1709 single, which is pretty good. The average was, not that good. But anyways, the 3x3 final, I ended up with a 12.65 average, which was okay. Not that good, but not very bad. And it gave me 8th place. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And don't forget, the upcoming competition. I mean, what am I saying? I'm gonna be going to an upcoming competition, which is Slow and Steady Fall 2013, and it has 2 rounds of pyramid, which I've been practicing a bunch lately.